right.
We're here.
There we go. Okay, we're live.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
We did
Okay,
it.
we've been trying to go live here, but we didn't know how. I know this is really strange. So I was just saying how there's a new
interface.
totally new interface. It looks really weird. Nothing is the same. Oh, so
Yeah.
Adam, Shawn,
Neely.
Hey.
Shawn Crowder.
Shawn, talk about your channel here.
Yeah, so I am the drummer in the band Sungazer with Adam, and I make videos about drums and rhythm and music and all that good stuff.
He has a shirt that has quintuplets on it, and
He's going to play the Black Page here in about. He's going to go warm up here for about 5 minutes, right?
I'll
Like 5
disappear
minutes or
for,
so.
yeah.
Oh, Vinny's on the stream. Wait a minute, no.
What's up, video?
So yes, this is an honor to have these guys here. They're in town to play tonight. I was going to invite people down to the show, but it's already sold out. So
yeah. But we're on a tour. You can go to like our social media, Instagram or whatever, to see if we're playing anywhere else. We're playing in Fayetteville, Norfolk, Richmond, New York, and Boston. And we're going to play some jazz for you guys. Lots of notes.
So we also have another guest here that's filming.
Oh, dude, come on.
Come on.
All right, yeah.
Come on out.
Okay,
Dude.
so we have a special guest who has actually been here because he and I were working on a video earlier. It's RHETT. Everybody knows RHETT.
The thing.
Oh, sorry.
I'm too tall.
RHETT's 7 feet tall. Everybody says, "Oh, Rick must be really short," but RHETT's 7 feet,
Brett
right?
is legitimately a monstrous human being.
He just never fits in anything. So there we go.
Yeah.
So this is really amazing, actually, to have you guys here. This is
Thanks for having us.
it's very
Yeah, thanks.
so out of context.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's very very weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, also, like, we've hung out a bunch of times, but the number of times that we've actually been in each other's videos is not that much.
Not
So-
that much. I don't know.
Well,
I was trying to think. We've been in a bunch of
Yeah.
videos together, actually.
That's true. Yeah, you know.
Of course, I've never come to your place in New York, though.
You don't need to.
And you're in a new place in New York, or no?
Yeah, I'm living in Brooklyn now. I was up in the Bronx for a while,
Okay.
but now I'm down with all the hipsters in Brooklyn.
There you go.
It's great. I got great coffee. Big
So
fan of coffee.
so talk about how your tour's been going, and
Yeah, sure. So we're touring in this big Sprinter van. We got this other band, Shub Saran band, playing with us. He plays like this Indian classical fusion with jazz fusion kind of thing. It's
Okay.
really cool. And yeah, last night we played in Nashville. It went interestingly, we'll say. We rely very heavily on Ableton Live.
where did you guys play in Nashville?
We played at the 5 Spot, which is a really cool place in East Nashville. I think, Rhett, you said, have you played there?
Yeah, a couple times, and I stay like about a mile from there.
Oh, cool, yeah. Yeah, it was a really cool spot. We were playing with our friend Ryan Connors of the band Dynamo, and his band is killing.
Yeah.
They are so good.
Did you guys go to Attaboy?
No.
Oh man.
We had, I forget what we had. We had some hot chicken situation, and it was, yeah, the band was hurting.
Now, have you been down to the South many times?
No, haven't. I mean, my uncle is actually from Franklin, and like near Tennessee. Near Tennessee?
It's near Nashville.
Near Nashville.
Pretty
that's
much
the
part
place.
of Nashville.
But no, I actually very rarely get down here. So this is a treat.
It's nothing like you thought it was, right?
No. I mean, I guess I don't know. I didn't.
I remember the first time
no,
I came to
really.
I came to the South.
Yeah.
And I was an adult, and I thought, hey, this is just like the North.
North, but yeah, well, every place,
Looks
everywhere
like upstate New York down
is
here.
kind of especially upstate New York. I
Yeah.
feel like. Yeah.
I mean, driving around Atlanta looks like upstate New York.
Atlanta's not the South, though.
No.
To be fair, this is
Yeah.
not the typical South.
I mean, Red is from Atlanta, and he has no accent, I don't think. Does Red have an accent?
No, he
No,
talks
but I
with a
Yeah.
Do you notice
gravelly.
an accent or not?
No.
Where are you from?
I'm from Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You say Colorado like you're from
Colorado.
Yeah.
Colorado.
Colorado, yeah. What is that?
No. But yeah, the tour's been going fine so far. It's been one show. It's been DIY. That's been.
But you were in Europe before that, right?
Yeah, so I was in Europe, playing in Ireland. I was doing some stuff in the UK, but this is all like, personal project, which is exciting. It's also interesting because it's like YouTube channel and then also music related stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of like two separate things, but they kind of come together.
Both of you guys.
Oh yes, this
Both
guy
of you
does it
guys.
too.
This is, we were talking about that. Rhett and I were talking about that you are one of the few, of the YouTube people, you guys actually go out and play gigs.
Yeah.
All three of you guys go out and play gigs.
I mean,
Shawn's main gig. What is your main gig?
well, I mean, the music always came first. We've been playing for forever, and it's only recently that I've gotten into YouTube. Following the example of this guy over here. But yeah, I mean, I've been touring all over the place. I was just in Europe for 3 weeks or so with a Tunisian singer named Amel Maflouthi.
Okay.
Cool.
It's hard for you to say.
Yeah, no, well, I'm used to it now, but yeah, it's always
Maflouthi.
Maflouthi. Yeah.
Maflouthi. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try it.
She's great
Yeah.
though. I love it.
Yeah, she's fantastic, and I've been touring with her all around the world for the last 5 years or so, and keeping busy with all kinds of projects in between. And
You live in Berlin though. Yeah.
You live in Berlin?
I moved to Berlin a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So before that, I was in New York. We spent a lot of time gigging there, and
We were roommates. That
Yeah.
was the thing. We were roommates for 5 years, and then
Wow.
yeah,
that's how you get tight as a rhythm section.
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
But could you actually play at your place though?
Yeah.
Would you have
We
to
got
put,
lucky.
put things over the drums or no?
Well, we started with a electronic drum set in the living room,
Okay.
and then we got super lucky. Our landlord decided to renovate the basement below our apartment,
Okay.
and just said, you can use that as a studio. We're like, okay.
So we
Wow.
and
Yeah.
our rent somehow went down. It was kind of one of those situations where we just lucked out. It was an amazing situation for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because Shawn would practice drums a lot, and it was fine. It was great.
You were, I gotta say, you were very patient. Yeah.
But at the time, you were doing a lot of side against side ostinato things.
I was doing all kinds of crazy coordination exercises, which is not fun to listen to, if you're next door in the bedroom. But
Yeah, he's doing 19 against 20, all this stuff, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna drink my morning
I
coffee.
went down the rabbit hole for sure. Yeah,
It's good stuff.
So,
I love 19 against 20.
yeah.
I mean, I usually put my metronome. I have a polyrhythmic metronome that I put on to practice.
What is that one?
There is actually a polyrhythm metronome
Yeah, totally.
that I do have on my phone, but
Yeah.
I forget the name.
Polynome.
Of that one. Polynome.
Yeah, I've spoken
Yeah.
to Joe, I think is his name.
Yeah,
The guy that made
that's
it. Yeah.
So how's it been trying to vlog the whole thing so far?
Oh hell, man.
yeah. How do you guys vlog?
It's nice to talk to somebody that does it and is doing it.
Yeah, well, we have a videographer with us for the sole purpose of capturing stuff. Which even then, because she isn't a vlogger, she normally is capturing live musical performances and getting B-roll and getting nice cinematic shots. And it all looks amazing. And she has a YouTube channel called Apartment Sessions.
Oh my God.
Everybody has a YouTube channel.
Everybody has a YouTube channel.
It's the YouTube tour.
She's the Apartment Sessions person, so she does all the media for this.
Oh yeah.
For Apartment Sessions,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen
So
Yeah.
so she's with us, but little things where I'm just vlogging musical conversations. She wouldn't normally think to vlog because that's not really what she does. So a lot of it is just knowing what to film and when. Mm-hmm. And it's a pain in the ass when you're trying to set up Ableton Live on a stage and
Yeah,
it's festival style, 15 minutes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Trust me.
I know
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Dealing with your rig, getting everything set up on stage, especially if it's a festival throw and go type thing, getting a sound check done, getting some form of monitor mix together, and then also setting up two.
He
or three
sets up his
cameras.
camera. I don't know how you don't.
Oh, I set up
lose your
2 or 3
camera.
cameras usually.
Yeah.
It's because you gotta. It kind of sucks just to have one camera capturing a whole performance.
You can meme edit though. You can capture one performance and then just on certain things do the tight cut and back.
Yeah.
That's not really your thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a handful, man. I think the genius move is bringing a videographer with you.
It helps.
That's
Yeah.
the goal.
It's
for
helped
sure.
a lot so far. Liz Maney is awesome. Yeah.
Oh, I can dream. One day.
One day.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I was curious about this. How do you book a gig? How do you book gigs now? Do you have an agent that does this?
Well, for this run, we did it basically ourselves.
Okay.
So we basically the
I
other.
mean, how did you get in touch with the people at Smith's?
I don't.
Turn the volume on the mic up there.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
sorry. Check.
Woo! Check.
Is it the mic
Oh,
volume?
you're clipping now.
Yeah, you
Okay,
know. I have no idea. So we actually booked. It was myself and the other person, Shub Saran, who is the other band that we're touring with. He booked, I think, Atlanta. So somehow he was able to get in contact. But we basically came up with a spreadsheet of all the. We came up with the routing first, like what cities we wanted to hit when, roughly. Then we started looking at all the venues of each place. IndieOnTheMove.com is a great place for like beginning DIY. You just looking to tour, just get something out. It's kind of like Yelp for musicians.
Okay.
It's just like
cool.
It's a list of like all the venues, like pros and cons about each venue that like musicians can like tell you about. And then we just started emailing and said like, hey, we got these jazz fusion bands, and by the way, I'm a YouTuber with like a lot of views, which honestly didn't matter a lot for a lot of places. They were much more concerned about touring history. They're more concerned about the sound, whether or not it fit the venue, or like Spotify plays also weirdly. Yeah, Spotify plays was really big. Like, so we made sure that
how does Spotify plays, if you're on YouTube, I would think that would kind of be more important than Spotify.
Well, because it's under the name Sungazer on Spotify, and it's not the name Sungazer on YouTube. So that was the difference, I think. But we were able to cobble together something. We worked with a booker for some of the other gigs, like in the Norfolk show, the Richmond show, and a couple others. But we really were just trying to try it out for the first time. And yeah, it's very possible. It's possible to do it yourself. It's just
a lot of work.
A lot of emails. But yeah, it's a really interesting experience because you learn how everybody else is doing it kind of the hard way every time. I feel like nobody sits you down and teaches you how to tour. But it's been great. There's a company that actually rents Sprinter vans specifically for bands. Bandigo, dude.
Oh my gosh.
This is a Bandigo van we're traveling in.
I've probably at some point traveled in the same van that you're.
Shauna?
Yeah.
You traveled in Shauna? Oh, dude.
Wow.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. You picked up in Nashville, right?
No, we picked her up in New Jersey.
Yeah.
She gets around.
So Shawn gets around.
So wait, so this is a person that's a driver or something?
No.
All the cars have names. Like there's a keychain with a name just so they can keep track.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's serious.
When we tell the other people in the band, they're gonna flip out. Like, we met a guy who's been in Shauna before.
That is
I think
hilarious.
we had that van on the last Muddy Magnolias run we did like 2.5, almost 3 years ago. We were out with the Revivalists for 3 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
That was the van we had.
Damn. All right. That's good. Got 10
Okay,
people.
so practically, how much does a van cost to rent like that?
That's for the weekend change that we're out. It's going to cost us about $2,000,
okay,
which is actually not that bad.
No,
to carry that many people and that much gear. So, and it's like I forget exactly what it ends up being, but think about insurance for the vehicle, and then like commercial insurance because we want to make sure that in case something terrible goes happen, we're like liability insurance and all that. All those details kind of add up, but at the same time, it's very doable if you're looking at your finances and say like, hey, well, this is how we get from place to place. Then hotels add up.
Yeah.
Food adds up. Don't recommend Airbnbs, to be honest.
Okay, how come?
Because the level of logistical details is insane, especially for like 10 people to get that much. It's so much easier just on everything. Things go wrong with Airbnbs, even if you save like a little bit of money. Yeah. So it's just easier to do the hotels, I think.
Is that what you do, Rhett, when you tour?
We do a bit of both. So with Noah, we do pretty much all hotels, but Jessie, we do a lot of Airbnbs because she just books them herself. And she'll wait till the day of, like till we're getting into a town and book something last minute.
Interesting. Probably for a much better rate.
Yeah, she saves a lot of money that way.
Okay.
Are you guys selling merch?
We are. We got like t-shirts.
If you ever want to support a band and you want to support somebody on the road, buy their merch.
Buy their merch.
Go to the shows and buy their merch because that's what puts gas in the van. It's what buys your food. It's what buys the hotel rooms. Like, go buy a t-shirt. Go buy whatever you're selling. Man.
And that goes for YouTubers too. Go to their store and buy their merch.
That's right.
Buy the quintuplet merch.
Buy the quintuplet merch.
Support.
Quintuplet swing.
Yeah, support live music, man.
Okay, so we have any questions, Billy? There's probably a few questions, right?
Yeah, there's a couple. Where do you see the music scene going in the next 10 years?
Oh, wow. Rick?
The next 10 minutes. Rhett and I were just talking about this. That I mean, it's changed radically just in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And I think that streaming has changed music dramatically. I think people listen to a lot more varied. I mean, I know I do. I listen to way more music than I would because of Spotify, because of suggestions, suggested playlists based on things. I mean, it's amazing the algorithms they have.
Yeah.
So you're exposed to more music. Obviously there's not as much money. Labels. I mean, I know this from, and I just said this to Rhett. That the labels, everybody that I know that works in a major label said they're making way more money than they've ever made, and it doesn't go to any of the musicians.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
digital rights management.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So and that goes to producers too.
Okay.
There's some really famous, like the biggest producers. I won't name names, but I was talking to some friends that know people that have produced, records that have sold 10. Classics, and they say they make no money on royalties anymore.
Yeah.
With the biggest bands of all time, I'm talking from 30 years ago, they make no airplay, there's no sales, so they make no royalties basically. Even though theoretically you make it off streams and things like that, but it doesn't really trickle down in the same way. Historically, though, people would make a living. A producer you'd have a record that was platinum, or that would be multi-platinum, and let's say you produced Blood Sugar Sex Magic from the Chili Peppers, right? Rick Rubin, up until and I don't know this for a fact, but you figure a record like that probably would sell maybe $1 million a year for maybe not $1 million a year, maybe 500,000 a year for 20 years or so, and the producer, he'd make his 3 points on it, and that would be a lot of money. 3 points on a record like that. And then all of a sudden it just goes to nothing over the last 5 years or so. And that's a pretty dramatic thing for these people, especially for legacy artists, which is why you see all the lawsuits.
Yeah.
All the lawsuits come from people that historically have had their, one of their parents or something. A lot of the people are not alive. You see the Led Zeppelin lawsuits, the Marvin Gaye's estate has sued people all the time, and that they do that because I just guess that they do that because they've gotten used to having a lot of money come in for years, and this goes with any legacy artist, and then when that money is not coming in anymore, lawyers will come in and they know that, and they'll say, hey, well, listen, if we sue so and so for this, we get 50% of the money, but we'll absorb all the costs if we win the case, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing I've been telling people, like other musicians, is like look towards growth markets, meaning social media, digital content creation, which is growing, and it will only grow higher, and it's not a saturated space either. Like music, like record sales and streaming. Oh. That's not a growth market. I feel like it's not growing. I mean, money might be being made again, but in terms of just like people listening or like opportunities, I don't feel like it's growing. Like you don't get into music because there's like a gold mine there. I feel like. I mean, in terms of like the music and like how music is made, I think machine learning is kind of fun. Just like there's a bunch of really cool things like Google's Magenta project, which is like this whole project that is dedicated to learning how music is composed, and then they're trying to figure out ways of using it as like compositional and performance aids, like generating random strings of correct music for then the composer to like mold in certain ways. I think that's kind of fun. I mean, beyond that,
but that doesn't necessarily things like that aren't necessarily going to make the traditional ways of making money in the music business are, except for songwriting, have pretty much dried up.
Yeah.
And the songwriting part has diminished, I would say, pretty dramatically. When you look at the lawsuits, like the Blurred Lines lawsuit, for example. I think it was $5.3 million that they eventually settled on, even though they sued him for more money. The reason it ended up at that is because that's how much money the song made. And that was a massive worldwide hit. Yeah. That was all the money that the song made over the course of those couple of years. I mean, that's got to be why, because they wouldn't award them more money than the royalties. So that tells you that song made $5 million, and that was as big of a hit. So you figure any other hit is going to bring in a lot less, and that was when they were still they were still selling they were still selling physical records then. Yeah. So even a song that big now is not going to make that kind of money for the for the songwriters.
Well, and the crazy thing about, you were saying that the labels are making more money than ever, and they have practically zero overhead costs. I mean, there's no manufacturing costs. No, it's all digital.
There's no distribution costs. I mean, there's distribution costs.
I mean, sure, they have some fees, but
you don't have to have a $100,000 record budget to make an album anymore.
Yeah, you could produce a record on your phone. People have produced well-selling records on phones. Yeah,
that doesn't mean that they're good sounding records on their phones.
No, but in terms of a commercial product, because that's all like a record label would care about. It doesn't matter how good it sounds; it's how well it will sell or people will listen to it. Which is kind of crazy. So like production, just to produce a piece of music is like
the barrier to entry is extremely low.
Very low.
Every computer comes with a DAW pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, and you can make pretty decent. Not amazing, but pretty decent sounding music pretty quickly, which is kind of inspiring, but also kind of terrifying too, because then it's completely saturated. Like, what makes your thing better than anybody else's? But
So this is an interesting thing. Why are you successful on YouTube?
Oh, because I talk about music and I make people. I try and get people. Yeah, and that's I rather cynically think like, all right, well, that's my success. It's not necessarily the music that I make, which I enjoy and I very much put behind it, but like I try and get people excited about listening to music and what music is.
Do you think though that it's your personality?
Yeah, I mean
honestly.
Yeah, I feel like I have things to say and ways to say it, and that is why I'm successful.
But the way that you say it though is equally as important for people that are interested in becoming YouTubers. The way that you say these things are your personality is what engages people,
of course, and like one of the biggest things is like the feeling like somebody is very powerful. Like the feeling that I mean, you guys are watching us, we're hanging out, and it's like it's very engaging. And I think if you're going to be a YouTuber / musician, it's important to show people that like connection, like that you are a real human being.
Well, you are exactly. When I met Adam a couple years ago, Adam is exactly in person like he is on his channel. And
same thing with Rick. It's impossible to hide that. I feel like because you stream so often. So
Rhett will attest to that. Although I'm a little bit more intense in the when we're
a lot less yelling on the live stream.
Yeah, than making a record, I guess.
Yeah, man.
Get out of there!
Oh, those are days.
Give me the guitar.
Just give me the guitar. Oh, that'd be so great to vlog that though. Oh, imagine that.
Yeah, that's.
I just hit a nerve. Okay, great.
No. You didn't hit a nerve. No, we were actually just talking about that on my podcast earlier.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So.
Rhett was talking about how when Rhett first started here, he was just interning, but I never had interns. I never said, "Oh, go get coffee, go get clean the bathroom," nothing like that. It was never. It was always like, "Okay, dude, we got to set up mics now. Let's go." Well, how do you set up mics? Well, just get out here, watch GL. He's going to show you how. GL's was my engineer for years, almost 20 years, and then. Okay, well, sit down at the computer. Do you know how to edit in Pro Tools? Yeah, a little bit. Then he sits down. Dude, you're too slow. Get up. And then one day, though, I said, Rhett, hey, why don't you want to play a guitar part on this? And he played something, and it was like, that's good. Okay, well, do some more. and then you just started doing guitar parts.
That's awesome.
That's how it worked. Literally the first day though, it was like came in, sat down, like, all right, pull up. I need 4 tracks, and pull up a drum sub. and I need a reverb. And I was just like, how do I?
Rhett was thinking he was going
to.
to. Rhett thought he was going to sit in the back of the control room and just watch.
No.
It's like, no, if you're going to be here, dude, you got to work, man. Let's do this.
That's like a very old school way of doing, like, even just like not even music, but just like the master pupil relationship. You know, that goes back to every culture. And one of the interesting things about, and I've talked about this in some schools, like universities, is like you don't get that. You don't get that relationship between, all right, there's somebody who really knows their stuff, and there's somebody who's going to study underneath, and it's going to be that.
Yeah.
Which it's a super important thing historically, and
Yep.
just because everything is done.
That's something that's disappeared because studios have disappeared.
Yeah.
That apprenticeship like
Yeah,
that.
for sure. I mean, yeah, what large studios? Like, there are very few large studios.
Blackbird in Nashville, and
When you can name them, all of them.
Right,
There's none. In Atlanta, there's Tree Sound. That's it. One. In Atlanta.
In New York, there's Berkeley Power Station, which they bought Avatar
Yep.
to like create like the next Berkeley expansion. Like, it's this massive, monstrous, ever expanding thing. But they did save it from becoming condominiums,
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's still
Yeah,
technically a recording studio.
they did that with RCA in Nashville too. They saved it, the main room over there. So I think Dave Cobb works out of
Yep.
the A room.
Wow.
Yeah.
nice.
And Blackbird also has their own university too that they started. They started that back in 2012. Or 2013, I think, because I talked to John McBride back then, and he was saying that they were going to expand into doing that, and
That's really smart.
he saw that he's had the foresight to realize that's where the business was going.
Where are those engineers going to work, though?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
is that
Well, they'll start their own. I mean, if they're smart, they'll start their own home studio, because home studios, I feel like, definitely can survive and do survive, like smaller outfits,
Yeah.
especially smaller outfits. There's a couple places that have played and done stuff at, which now do video, like just in-house video stuff, because everybody needs a music video.
Yep.
You know?
Well, and the big thing here in Atlanta now specifically too is the film industry. I mean, I have multiple friends that are full-time musicians, like our friend Marcus,
Yeah.
who is now a huge mixer doing a lot of the big films that are coming in. And one of my best friends who's a bass player transitioned, and like that, master pupil relationship went under Marcus's wing and is now a boom op on a lot of the film sets that are happening around here.
Yeah, movies are a growth industry. I guess, yeah. There's stuff to be done there. So, I mean, I think that's how I think of. It's the only way to think about it if you're trying to get into any sort of creative endeavors. Like, is the field growing or is it stagnant and contracting?
the thing about the movie industry is that still most of the post-production is done out in LA.
Yeah.
When it comes to the musical side of it,
Yeah,
all the
that's
film
true.
scoring pretty much is done there. And but as far as people that I know, a lot of people that have transitioned from being engineers to working on films as engineers, but it's a pretty radically different thing when you're talking about, like Phil does he's a boom op, right? That's what he does, and it's a totally different. All the gear is different. It's really weird.
Yeah.
The mixers that they have, you're thinking, well, I know about engineering. I've never seen anything like any of the recording gear that they use on movies.
I worked on a TV show 2 years ago for a summer that was filming here, and it was one of the most confusing drink from a fire hose situations. Like, they just dropped me on set, and I was like, I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know where I was allowed
Was that
to
the thing
stand.
that I had you do?
Yeah, dude, it was.
Wow.
It was.
I was like, Rhett, you're going to go on this thing. Yeah. So you're going to go on. I actually didn't do any of those things, did I?
No, I did most of them.
I think I went to one.
I
one
learned,
filming.
Yeah, I learned.
Where I
real
said,
quick.
okay, I'm going to send Rhett. He can go
that's
do
right.
it. I'll pay him to do
Film
that.
business is not for me. Not for me.
But the sound mixer, the sound engineer, does the time code for the entire movie. Everything is really based off Pro Tools.
Or there's a whole industry of former engineers here that now are playback ops, guys that have little mobile Pro Tools rigs, and they bring in. So if you think about it, if you have a scene that's taking place in a club and there's people dancing and stuff,
Yeah.
you can't actually have the music playing because they have to capture dialogue.
Yep.
Right.
But you have to play something so that the people there can be dancing along. So
And they play it really quietly.
they
wow.
literally
It's
what
really-
they do is they basically make they pull up an oscillator and make a click track that's below 80 hertz.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's just a sub.
So they're out dancing, but nothing's going on.
But the lavs that the actors are wearing will pick up.
They're all high
range,
pass
and they
above
can
80.
high pass the
That's
boom
so
mics.
smart.
Yeah.
I was thinking that there would be some fancy thing with phases.
No,
And there's literally, it's a full-time job. You can earn 6 figures a year just basically hitting. I mean, it's way more complicated, but a simple Pro Tools rig.
It's a little
like-
sine wave. At
Yeah, they
80 hertz.
just yell playback and you hit play.
Yo, I got a metronome here. I'm ready to make it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do this. Let's do this. I'm gonna move to Atlanta and make it.
Yeah, so I did go on one of the things,
It was
the
impressive.
very first one, and it's amazing how many
It's
people
actually where
involved
they
in
filmed
making.
Walking Dead, right down
Yeah, Terminus.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy. I don't know if you guys ever watched The Walking Dead back
Yeah,
in the day.
I mean, it's still going, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still going. They
Dropped
they
off.
they
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 can't do it.
they still kept people. I kept watching even after Rick left the left the scene.
The true fan.
Not a Fairweather fan,
Yeah.
but so is there anything you guys want to say about the gig tonight for the people that are actually going to be there?
Yeah.
What time are you guys playing?
I think we hit at 9, and then starts at 8. So we play like two sets, and then we're hanging out. I mean, the music is like it's the background music to my channel. It's like anytime that there's like some sort of I need like some incidental music, I just play Sungazer. And so if you want to hear some background music live, guys,
In the foreground.
in the
tonight.
foreground this time, we got Jared Yee playing with us, who is a bit of a meme on my channel because he played this really awesome tenor sax solo on this arrangement of Zed's Clarity, and then he turned into this meme where anyway, he's an amazing sax player who has really studied Michael Brecker reincarnate. I would even say he has just an incredible tone, just licks for days. He's a young guy out of New York, Jared Yee. He's playing with us tonight, and then also Christian Lee, who teaches at Berkeley, I think. Yeah, insane keyboard player too. So it's like a quartet. Normally we just do it as a duo, which is why it worked last night when all the Ableton stuff failed. Yeah. We could actually just play the music.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
kind of nice. Actually,
it was
in a
like,
way, but-
and that's an interesting thing. It's like when you get on the rails, on the rails is like when you're just playing to a click track and you're playing to playback and you're just playing your part. It's like a train that just will never stop. And if something goes wrong with that, you're kind of screwed. But we kind of almost intentionally for ourselves set it up that if everything went wrong, we could create music. We could play some jazz. We could improvise. We literally did in the very truest sense of the word. And the musicians around us just super threw down. Yeah. It's another thing is stuff goes wrong all the time. And this was the first time stuff went wrong for my own, our own personal project.
Yeah.
So we knew that it's just music. Nobody dies if somebody makes a mistake, if something goes wrong. Nobody is forever maimed because Ableton didn't play back correctly. So at the end of the day, it's just well, okay, that was silly.
But in the moment when you realize that something's not playing back correctly, though, that frantic moment, that's really fun. Right?
There was a look. You and I had a look. It was good for the first song and a half, and then the click track just went out.
It was during.
So do you look at each other when that happens?
Did you hear that too?
It's no click. What do we do? And it was a song that it was a song that so his for half of it his kick drum is attached to a drum trigger. Okay. That drum trigger triggers a synthesizer in Ableton Live.
Okay.
And that synthesizer then changes chords every couple of bars. Okay. So basically he's playing the bass line. Anytime he plays the kick drum, and he does this septuplet pattern, so it's this crazy thing that's going all over the place. And all that we know, 4 bars later, is just not going to be there. So
So Adam scrambles, let me find a pass.
Okay, so I got a Moog over here. I'm all right, I'm going to try and listen for that kick drum. All right. It's, and you prepare for the worst and you expect the worst.
Come on, those are the things that you actually remember when the tour's over with.
Oh, yeah.
To me, those are always the most fun things, is laughing about those when you have a disaster like that.
Yeah, and it was captured on film, so it's going to be on some future video. It's going to be great.
Rhett, you did that video where you're
Oh man,
your
yeah,
thing
your
didn't-
board. Oh,
That's
that
why
was-
I'm not laughing. It's because I know the
like hang on a
being
minute.
in that situation. Yeah, I flew to London this summer to play a one-off festival thing, and TSA, the wonderful folks, decided that it would be the safest thing to take my pedal board apart and then ship it to London for me in pieces. And I got there. It was a festival throw and go, so you have no time to sound check. It was
throw and go. I like
Throw and
that.
go.
and just had none of my sounds, no nothing, and it worked out. You just plug straight into the amp, and it sounded great. But in the moment, it was deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
Like, oh boy, this is going to be
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, you've had some.
Man, it's like as soon as we got into electronics, you start running into stuff like that, and you can't predict what it's
No.
going to be. It's like every time something happens, it's the first time, and sometimes that's on stage, and it's terrifying when that happens. I remember probably the worst one that I had. I won't name the artist that I was playing with, but we were playing for a fairly decent sized crowd, and it was a festival type situation. There were other groups, and so we had like a sound check, and then we left stage, and the other bands came in, did their thing, and we came back. And in between that time, so during sound check, I'd been like changing a lot of stuff in the Ableton file, like changing outputs, and came back and I saw that Ableton was crashed.
Oh.
And so it didn't save any of the changes.
Oh man.
That was also my bad, not for not saving it. But we start the first tune, and the click track is going to the audience.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah.
Love that.
They hear a
That
little
is great.
cowbell count off. Dink, 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 dink. Wait.
No.
And,
I love that.
And all of our playback is only in our ears. So it was a nightmare.
that.
So we're scrambling on
I
stage.
love that.
Like,
The audience is thinking, what is going on here? Right?
yeah. Oh, everybody knew. It was very clear. But
It's like.
That is
But
so
yeah.
great, though.
it makes for a great story. A few years later. So yeah.
Like I always say that those are the things that you end up remembering.
Yeah.
When the disasters happen.
Yeah, exactly.
man.
That's it.
Oh.
The disasters are their own. It's like if there's enough distance from the disaster, then it's fun. But then,
Yeah.
it kind of like, yeah, it was kind of crazy last night because I'm like really inside my head. But then immediately afterwards, and this is something that like kind of have to figure out. Everybody wanted to come up and say, hey, Adam, like I love your videos and stuff. And meanwhile, I'm just like completely defeated because like nothing on stage worked. So it was just like a mental health sort of thing I need to watch out for. It was like, can I like go and hang out with people immediately after this disaster?
I think people will understand if you like go back to the green room and take 15.
Totally.
that's true.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a green room at Smith's, do they?
Yeah,
No.
well, upstairs they do.
They had a food truck out back.
Oh, for
That
five
would have been the
spot.
move.
Did
Yeah.
did you guys load in yet for the gig or not?
Oh no, we
No.
gotta. Oh,
We got to do that.
we
pretty soon.
gotta.
Okay, we gotta go.
We got sound check in like a half an hour.
All right, so thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Thanks for having us.
Yes,
Man,
pleasure.
dude.
And Rhett, you're always here, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Okay, we'll see you guys. Thanks.